The family visit was expected to be routine, but the father immediately sensed something was off. "Daughter, why did you arrive by taxi? Where is the Mercedes? What did we get you for your anniversary?" he inquired, his voice laced with concern. His son-in-law, with an air of pride, replied, "This is my mother's car now." A heavy silence descended. The father paused for a moment, then his reaction was beyond anything anyone anticipated. "Hello, dear listeners. I'm delighted to welcome you to my channel. I present to you a new, intriguing story. Enjoy listening." Elena knew this evening wouldn't be easy. She simply didn't feel the lightness with which she used to visit her parents for family dinners. That time was over. She stood by the entrance of her parents' five-story building, paying the taxi driver, and saw her father peer out the window on the third floor. He saw her, and his face contorted with surprise. By the time she ascended, the door stood wide open. Her father was on the threshold, wiping his hands with a kitchen towel, evidently assisting her mother with preparations. "What did we get you for your anniversary?" he asked, his gaze fixed on her face. Elena hesitated, but then Maxime emerged from behind her. Her husband always had a knack for appearing at the most inconvenient times, as if sensing an opportunity to display his peculiar logic. "This is my mother's car now," he announced cheerfully, failing to notice Elena's father straighten abruptly. "She's wanted a nice car for so long, and Lena and I thought, why not give her a gift? Right, Lena?" Elena remained silent. Maxime continued to smile, clearly anticipating approval. Her father stood motionless. His gaze slowly shifted from his son-in-law to his daughter and back again. Her mother peeked out from the kitchen, wiping her hands with her apron, and froze, sensing the tension. "Come in," her father finally said. "Dinner is almost ready." It all began 3 months prior, on Elena's 30th birthday. Her parents presented her with a silver Mercedes, not new, but in excellent condition, only 5 years old. Her father had saved for a long time, even selling his old Neva to contribute to the cost. Her mother forgone a long-planned kitchen renovation. They wanted their daughter to drive a proper car, not the worn-out Lada belonging to Maxime, which constantly needed repairs. Elena had cried with joy then, hugging her parents and expressing her gratitude. Maxime also rejoiced, clapping his father-in-law on the shoulder and proclaiming it an incredible gift, expressing their deep appreciation for such thoughtfulness. For the first 2 weeks, Elena drove her new car daily. She commuted to her job as a credit specialist at the bank, transported groceries from the supermarket, and even took a trip with a friend out of town. Maxime occasionally asked for the keys, citing errands he needed to run. Elena didn't object. After all, they were family. Then the oddities began. First, Maxim started hinting that his mother, Iraida Sergeyevna, found it inconvenient to travel by bus, that her legs were bad, and that she got tired easily. He suggested it would be wonderful if Elena could occasionally drive her mother-in-law to the clinic or the market. Elena drove her once, then twice, then a third time. Iraida Sergeyevna would settle into the front passenger seat, cast a critical glance around the interior, and begin to lament. "You know, Lutka, our neighbor, her son bought her a car," she'd sigh. "And here I am, poor thing, working 2 jobs my whole life, and now I have to ask for rides." "I don't mind," Elena would say. "It's just my job. I can't always adjust my schedule." Of course, Iraida Sergeyevna would nod. "She has her work, but my son's mother has to endure bumpy bus rides." Maxim listened to these conversations in silence. In the evenings, he'd tell Elena, "Is it really that difficult for you to give my mother a ride sometimes? She's not young anymore." Iraida Sergeyevna was only not young in terms of her complaints. In reality, she was 58. She worked as a saleswoman in a grocery store, bustling around as if wound up, and still managed to visit friends, play cards, and argue with neighbors over parking spaces. One day, Elena returned home from work to find the car missing from its usual spot. She called Maxime. He mentioned that his mother had asked to visit relatives in the Moscow region, and he had lent her the keys. "Lent them to her?" Elena exclaimed indignantly. "Maxime, that's my car. My parents gave it to me." "So what? We're family," he said, bewildered. "Or are you being stingy?" The word stingy became a fixture in their lexicon. Every time Elena tried to object, Maxime accused her of greed, selfishness, and an inability to think of her loved ones. Iraida Sergeyevna returned late that evening, tossed the keys on the table, and remarked, "Nice car, smooth ride. I haven't driven one like this in a long time." Elena gritted her teeth and remained silent. Subsequently, it became a regular occurrence. Maxim began taking the keys himself in the mornings. Before Elena woke up, she would leave the house to discover the car gone. She'd call her husband, who'd reply that his mother needed a ride to work, or the clinic, or somewhere else. "I was planning to drive to work today, not take the metro," Elena would say. "Well, take the metro then," Maxim would shrug. "What difference does it make? Your mother has it harder than you." One day, Elena attempted to speak with Iraida Sergeyevna directly. She visited her in the evening when Maxim wasn't home. "You see," she began cautiously, "I'm very happy to help, but the car is mine. My parents gave it to me. Perhaps you could give me some advance notice when you need it." Iraida Sergeyevna looked at her as if Elena had proposed something unthinkable. "Are you really begrudging your husband's mother?" Her voice turned cold. "I raised Maxim alone my entire life. His father left when he was 3. I gave him everything. And now you come here and dictate the rules?" "I'm not dictating rules," Elena attempted to retort. "It's just, you're selfish, that's all." Iraida Sergeyevna cut her off. "I knew it. Modern girls only think about themselves." Elena left, slamming the door. A furious argument erupted at home. Maxim shouted that she had insulted his mother, that he wouldn't tolerate her being treated that way, and that if Elena didn't learn to respect her elders, he would reconsider their relationship. Reconsider their relationship. Elena couldn't believe her ears. Over a car. Not over the car, over your attitude. They didn't speak for 3 days. Then Maxim came. He embraced her, saying he understood, that his mother was just worried, that she really was tired. "Let's just let her use the car for a while," he suggested. "Maybe a month or 2, and then we'll go back to how things were." Elena agreed, because she loved him, because she didn't want more arguments, because she believed a month or 2 wasn't forever. A month turned into 2, 2 into 3. Iraida Sergeyevna began to treat the car as her own. She even made a duplicate set of keys. One day, Elena discovered an insurance policy in the glove compartment with the annotation, "Permitted driver, Iraida Sergeyevna." Maxim explained it as a matter of convenience. "Mom drives a lot. What if something happens?" "Maxim, do you even understand what's happening?" Elena asked. "Oh, come on." He waved it off. "What difference does it make who's listed on the insurance?" Elena realized that talking was futile. She called her parents, wanting to complain, but couldn't bring herself to do it. She imagined how upset her father would be, how worried her mother would become. They had tried so hard, wanted so much to please her. And now, tell them their gift had been appropriated by her mother-in-law? She simply said everything was fine, that the car was wonderful, that she was very pleased. Yet her father sensed something. He started calling more often, asking how things were, if she needed any help. Elena answered evasively, trying to change the subject. And so today, when her parents invited them for dinner, Maxim left for his mother's that morning. Elena waited until the last possible moment, hoping he might return and give her a ride, but he didn't. He sent a message. His mother had asked him to go to IKEA with her to buy a new sofa. "I'll be back late. You go to your parents. I'll join you later." Elena hailed a taxi, and as she rode, she thought about how she couldn't live like this anymore. The dinner was tense. Her mother had set the table with her signature dishes, the ones Elena had loved since childhood, but she had no appetite. Maxim chattered about how wonderfully he and his mother had gone shopping, what an excellent sofa they had chosen. "We got it on sale, can you imagine, a 40% discount," he rejoiced. Her father remained silent, cutting his meat slowly and thoughtfully. Her mother tried to keep the conversation going, but it felt strained. Finally, her father put down his fork and looked at Maxim. "Listen, son-in-law," he said calmly. "Explain it to me, as one person with a technical education to another. We bought a car for our daughter, a gift for her anniversary, correct?" "Well, yes," Maxim nodded, not understanding his father-in-law's drift. "And whose car is it now?" "Well, Lena's." Maxim shifted in his chair. "Exactly, Lena's." "Well, yes. So it's a family car, in a sense." "No." Her father raised his hand. It's not a family car. We gave it to our daughter, personally, because she is our child, and we wanted her specifically to drive a proper car. And now you're telling me the car belongs to your mother. Am I understanding this correctly? Maxim turned pale. But you don't object to Iraida Sergeevna using it too, do you? She's not young. I am 58. Maxim is 32. Her father continued, his voice even. If I'm calculating correctly, his mother is about my age. I take the bus to work every day and I don't complain. So let's dispense with this nonsense about age. Dad, please don't, Elena said quietly. But her father couldn't stop. He stood up from the table, walked to the hallway, and returned with the car documents. Here, look. He placed the papers in front of Maxim. The owner is Elena, not you, not your mother. It's Elena. Therefore, the decision about who uses the car and when is hers. And if someone else is constantly taking the car without her consent, then that's not a family matter. That's appropriation of someone else's property. Maxim leaped up. Are you threatening me? I'm explaining to you how it looks from the outside. Her father sat back down, crossing his arms. You're supposed to be a grown man. You should understand. Or does your mommy know better how we should live in our family? Her mother let out a soft sob. Elena sat motionless, unsure what to do. Lena, get ready, her father said. We're going to get your car. Where? Maxim sputtered. To your mother's. Where is the car parked? Under her window. Let's go, Lena. Mom, you're coming with us too. The three of them descended. Her father called a taxi. They drove in silence. Maxim remained at home, shouting something after them, but her father didn't even glance back. Iraida Sergeevna opened the door in a bathrobe, her hair in curlers, and tensed upon seeing Elena with her parents. What do you want? She asked, displeased. The car keys, her father stated. What keys? I don't understand what you're talking about. The Mercedes that you've been using for the past 3 months. The keys. This is my son's car now, Iraida Sergeevna exclaimed. No, her father replied, pulling documents from his pocket. This is my daughter's car. Here are the documents. Do you see the owner? Not your son, not you. Elena. So, keys on the table and quickly. Iraida Sergeevna tried to slam the door shut, but her father blocked it with his foot. Do you know what the penalty is for appropriation of another's property? He asked quietly. Let's not involve the police. The keys now. The mother-in-law darted further into the apartment, returned with the keys, and threw them at Elena's face. Elena barely managed to catch them. You think Maxim will forgive you for this? Iraida Sergeevna shrieked. He'll leave you, you'll see. So be it, her father said calmly. Then he is more important to you than we are. Come on, Lena. They went downstairs. The car was parked by the entrance, dirty, with a dent on the rear bumper. Elena got behind the wheel and started the engine. Her hands trembled. Thank you, Dad, she whispered. Let's go home, her father said. To our place. You'll stay the night, calm down, and tomorrow you'll decide what to do next. Elena nodded. They drove, she in front. Her parents followed in a taxi. Along the way, she cried, not from sorrow, but from relief. For the first time in 3 months, she felt she could breathe. At her parents' home, she drank tea, took a shower, and lay down on her old childhood bed. Her phone buzzed incessantly with calls from Maxim. She didn't answer. The next morning, she returned to the apartment they rented with Maxim. He wasn't there, only a note on the table. You betrayed me and my mother. I'm moving in with her. We'll divide our assets through court. They had no assets, only furniture from IKEA and old appliances. Elena packed her belongings and called her parents. Her father helped move everything to their place. You'll stay with us until you find proper housing, he said. Elena nodded. She was 30 years old, and she was returning to her parents' home. Her marriage was crumbling, but somehow it didn't feel like the end of the world, rather the beginning of something new. Maxim called for another week, demanding the car back, accusing her of cruelty, then disappeared. A month later, she learned from mutual acquaintances that he had moved in with his mother, and now they lived together in her one-room apartment. Iraida Sergeevna gave him no respite, making him pay all the bills, buy her new clothes, and drive her to the market in his old Lada. Elena filed for divorce. Maxim didn't appear at the hearing, sending a lawyer who stated that his client agreed to the divorce but demanded compensation for moral damages. The judge looked at him over her glasses and denied the request. 6 months later, Elena rented a small apartment near her parents, worked, drove her Mercedes, and met with friends. Iraida Sergeevna once tried to corner her near the entrance. She began to lament that Maxim had gone completely off the rails, that he had abandoned his old mother, that it was all Elena's fault. "Then he didn't love you that much," Elena replied and drove away without looking back. One winter evening, she was giving her father a ride home from the metro. He sat beside her, looking out the window, and suddenly said, "You know, I was thinking back then about how to help you. There were two options. Either talk to Maxim calmly or act firmly. I chose the latter because I realized that with people like that, calm discussion doesn't work." Elena smiled. "You did the right thing, Dad. I just didn't want my daughter to spend her whole life bending to other people. You grew up to live your own life, not to serve someone's mother." They stopped at a traffic light. An old Lada pulled up alongside. Maxim was inside. He saw Elena. Their eyes met. He looked tired, older. Elena nodded at him and drove on when the light turned green.